Hey guys, Miss Blake here. Today we're going to go over part 1 of quadratic functions, which goes as section 3.1 in your book. So when you're graphing in vertex form, the first thing you want to look at is, does your graph open up or down? So whatever's out front, that a value, if it's positive, opening up, down is negative. Opening down is negative. The next thing you want to do is pull out your vertex. H and K represent your vertex. And then X and Y intercepts. Remember, for X intercept, you plug in 0 for Y. And for Y intercept, you plug in 0 for X. And then you graph. So let's go ahead and try it. So let's start with this negative out front. This negative out front means we're opening down. Right, because A is -1. Our vertex, remember this was X minus H, so H is 1, and K is 4. I know it's tempting to put -1, but the equation was X minus H, so H is a +1. What else? We'll do our Y-intercept, those are a little bit easier. So we want to plug in 0 for X, so we have Y equals -0 minus 1 squared plus 4. So we've got Y equals -1 squared is +1 times -1 is -1 plus 4. 4 minus 1 is 3. Then we'll go on to our X-intercept. So we want to plug in 0 for Y. 0 equals -X minus 1 squared plus 4. Subtract 4 from both sides. Divide both sides by -1. We're going to take the square root, so we get plus or minus 2 equals X plus, minus. Eraser. There we go. X minus 1. And then your last step is just to add that 1 over. So we have 1 plus or minus 2. So we've got X equals 1 plus 2, so X equals 3. There's one of them. And X equals 1 minus 2, so -1. Now that we have all of our components, we're going to go ahead and graph this. So our vertex is at 1, 4, 1, 4. We cross our y-axis. Our y-intercept is at 3. He's going to be angry at me. And then we're going to cross our x-axis at -1. 1 and 3. You should see some symmetry going on here. Alright, let's go ahead and make our parabola. And I'm terrible at these, so don't judge me. And again, you should see that line of symmetry, right? Both on same on both sides. So definitely look for that line of symmetry to kind of check your work. Alright, let's try another one. So here our A is 1, so we're opening up. It's positive. My vertex is HK. So remember X minus H, so it'll be +2. And K is on the end. We'll do our Y-intercept. Remember, you want your X coordinate to be 0, so we have Y equals 0 minus 2 squared plus 1. So -2 squared is 4, plus 1 gets me Y is 5. So there's my Y-intercept. X-intercept, we want to plug in 0 for Y. So we've got X minus 2 squared plus 1. We're going to subtract the 1 from both sides. Now here, when you take the square root of both sides, I'm going to have the square root of -1, which is I, plus or minus I, equals x minus 2. And when you add 2 plus or minus I. So notice this is imaginary. This is imaginary. That means we're not going to have an x-intercept. Okay, we're not going to have an x-intercept. So we're going to go ahead with what we have right now. So we have 2, 1. We have y equals 5. Remember, we're opening up. And if you're looking for a third point, you can always use that line of symmetry that goes through the vertex. All right, there's your axis of symmetry. So if it's over here, 1, 2 away, then there'll be one over here, 1, 2 away. And you can kind of copy and paste to make that symmetric. And if you plug this point in, if you plug in 4 for x, you should get out 5. 4 minus 2 is 2. 2 squared is 4, plus 1 is 5. So that is a coordinate, but again, we just use that axis of symmetry to kind of copy and paste it over. And draw your axis of symmetry, or sorry, draw your parabola. Hopefully better than mine. My parabolas are very rough today, guys. Alright, sometimes you have it in standard form, the equation in standard form, but you're going to take it a little bit different. Still A tells you if it's opening up or down, if it's positive up, if it's negative down. But you can't just pull a vertex out of this. So you have a lovely little formula, opposite of B over 2A. So x equals, that's going to get you your x coordinate of your vertex. This is also your axis of symmetry. And then you can plug that number in and find the y that goes with it. So you have to do a little bit more work for vertex than you did in vertex form. X-intercepts and y-intercepts, still the same concept. X plug 0 in for y, y plug 0 in for x. Alright, let's get started. Alright, so A is negative, so it's still open. Oh, come back. Opens down. Again, vertex isn't as easy, so for your vertex, we're going to say x equals opposite of b over 2a. There's your formula. So the opposite of b is -4 over 2 times a, which is -1. So we have x equals -4 divided by -2 is a +2. But remember, your vertex has an x and a y coordinate, so we actually have to plug that in and find the y coordinate that goes with it. So we're going to come, so there's x. Where are we at? Y equals -2 squared plus 4 times 2 plus 1. So again, I took that x value, plugged it in to try and find out the y that goes with it. 2 squared is 4, times -1 is -4. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1. So we have -4 plus 8 is 4, plus 1 is 5. So my vertex is going to be the point x coordinate 2, y coordinate 5. So we had to do a lot more work for the vertex this time. Where are we at? So we got vertex opens down. Let's get our y-intercept. So you plug in 0 for x, so y equals -0 squared plus 4 times 0 plus 1. 0 squared is 0, 4 times 0 is 0, 1, so y equals 1. Quick little trick, whatever your c value is, that is your y-intercept. And if you look back to the notes on the last page, they did point that out. The y-intercept is c. So just a little quick trip, or quick trick. Whatever your c value is, that is your y-intercept. Alright, x-intercept. This one's tougher as well. So we're plugging it in for y. I'm going to go ahead and use the quadratic. I'm going to go ahead and use the quadratic on this. So the quadratic is opposite of b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c, all over 2 times a, which will be negative 2. So we're going to simplify. Negative 4 plus or minus. We have 16 plus 4. All that's over negative 2. And we got negative 4 plus or minus the square root of 20. I'm going to come over here a little bit. I can rewrite 20 as 4 times 5. So we can take the square root of 4. Sorry, I'm running out of room here. 2 root 5 over negative 2. And we'll go ahead and simplify this. So negative is going to make positive 2 plus or minus square root of 5. Now, we can't graph this. So you're going to type this in your calculator, 2 plus root 5 and 2 minus root 5. And you're going to get 2 answers. So let me put those, I'll put them over here. So you're going to get negative 0.2 and 4.2. Those should be the 2 answers you get when you plug it in. Those we can graph. We can get there. All right, I think we've done everything. So if you notice, there's a lot more to this than there was to vertex form. So we've got 2, 5 is our vertex. Remember that line of symmetry is the line x equals 2. So that's our line of symmetry, our axis of symmetry. Y equals 5. Oops, not y equals 5. Y equals 1. There we are. Got a bunch of stuff going on here. Y equals 1 is my y-intercept. Let me box these in so we can find them. There we go. That's a little more clear. So y equals 1 was our y-intercept. Our x-intercepts are going to be negative 0.2, which is negative somewhere before 1. And then negative 4 and a little more. And again, you should see that symmetry. And we're going to go ahead and graph. And again, hopefully your graph looks way better than mine. Looks like I'm trying to graph during an earthquake. All right, so that's it for today. We'll pick up part 2 tomorrow. Bye, guys.